The first remerchandising tips and trick we want to go over would be a rolling gondola rack that we can use to demerchandise 4-foot sections of gondola very quickly and remerchandise it just as fast. We would do that by taking basically a blank 4-foot section of gondola and adding casters to them. They fit right here on the bottom of the rack and make it portable, so you can move out of the way of customers, or you can move down the aisle if the merchandise is moving to a separate section. Here would be an example of a permanent fixture in the aisle. Next, I'd like to talk about how we would use this temporary rolling fixture to our advantage to speed up the time it takes to demerchandise a permanent 4-foot section, so we can either remerchandise the shelves and or product, or clean off the shelves that the product is sitting on. As you can see here in the picture, on the left side would be the permanent 4-foot section, and you need to use your imagination and understand that this would be a whole run of 4-foot sections, but for the purposes of demonstration we'll look at one 4-foot section. On the right hand side is the temporary rolling fixture that we showed you in the previous slide. When you roll the temporary fixture into place directly across from the 4-foot section you're going to merchandise, you will now move the product directly over to that temporary fixture. Now there is a method to how you move from the permanent to the temporary, and basically if you're facing the permanent fixture, you want to take the product on the far left hand side of that 4-foot section, turn your body counterclockwise so that product ends up on the far left of the temporary fixture when you are facing it. I'm going to show you a quick video in a second to demonstrate this live. Here is an example of a demerchandised 4-foot section that we've now moved all the product off over to the temporary rolling fixture. At this point, you can move your shelves up and down or do whatever needed moves to get it to planogram. Also, this is when you want to wipe down and clean the shelves using the approved cleaning chemicals and rags and paper towels. Once it is all clean, we want to remerchandise everything back to the permanent fixture. At this time, I will show you a quick video on the demerching of the permanent to the temporary, and that is where you move counterclockwise, and it should keep it in planogram order left to right. And then when you remerch, you want to turn clockwise, starting on the right hand side of that fixture, and the product will end up on the right hand side of your permanent fixture. Here's the video. The next tip we want to show you is the use of a measuring tape tool for peg hooks and shelves. The peg hole count measuring tape for peg hooks is basically a strip that has numbers 1 inch apart, so they line up directly with the peg holes. It is attached using magnets, and it just clips right onto the metal frame of the 4-foot section of gondola. And you will put strips going across so they line up with every peg hole horizontally, and you'll also put them down the side so they line up with every peg hole vertically. When you're installing the ones on the sides, you want to install them inside the slots in the standards, and I'll show you why in a second. Here's a corner section of the peg hole measurement tape showing you the top and the sides, and we'll show you how the peg hooks line up with those holes in a second. The second is the standard slot measurement tape for shelves. It is the same tool Just want to show you how you can use it to also line up, instead of with peg holes, line them up with the slots and the standards so you can put your shelves at the correct height. When installing the measuring tape tool for both peg holes and for the shelf slots, you kind of want to do it the same way for every 4-foot section. If you are going to be putting peg hooks up, you want to start with the top and put the horizontal strip on the top of the 4-foot section. Then you want to go down the left-hand side of the standard, and you want to go inside the slots on the left-hand side and on the inside of the slots on the right-hand side. Here's 3 quick videos to show you how easily all 3 of these strips go up. And now I want to show you how to use these strips while you're reading a planogram. And basically, when you're installing the peg hooks according to the planogram, there are counts that will tell you what hole the peg hooks are installed in, counting from the left side of the 4-foot section and also down from the top of the fixture. For example, in this picture here, it is stating to put a peg hook in hole 3-3. That is 3 from the left-hand side and 3 down from the top. 3, 3, and then the position given is always the location the left peg hook goes in when there's 2 peg hooks. So that's that right there. So as you can see, if you have the planogram and it reads there's a peg hook in 3-3, you can easily see that without having to really count or hold a position and stick it in. You can just look at the tape, put it right in, move on to the next one that could be, let's 3-13, like I'll show you in the next example. But see, as you can easily see, the peg hole is 3 over from the left side and 3 down from the top. Again, you don't have to count, you can just easily see that. And in the example to the right down here, showing that there's one at 3-13, again, how easy it is to see where those peg hooks go. There's no counting and holding and figuring it out. You can do it much quicker. Let's talk now about installing shelves using these measurement tools. When you have the strips lined up with the slots, you can easily see where you're going to be installing them. The planogram will tell you a count of what slot the shelf goes into, either from the top of the fixture or the bottom of the fixture. It just depends on the planogram you're using. For this purpose, we're going to say they're telling us to go in 28 slots down from the top. And as you can see here, it's very easy to find that slot. You go ahead and you can just put it right in the slot like so, and you can again easily identify it without having to count all the way down, lose your spot, you're off by 1, then you got to go back and change it. You easily know you're going right in the correct spot. It also ensures that the shelves are level. One thing when putting in gondola, since they're only an inch apart on either side and you're working with a 4-foot section, being off 1 inch sometimes is hard to tell. And you have a slanted shelf, and then you go to the next one that maybe, the next 4-foot section over that's supposed to be at the same shelf height, and you put it in, and now you're off by 1 hole, maybe all the way down the line. This way you can see if both sides are going in right at 28. You can see it without having to count or measure, and you know you're level. Now I just want to quickly show you how easily and quick it is to remove these measurement tapes when you're done. I showed you earlier how quick they were to install. Now I'm going to show you a quick video on how easily they come down.